Peace, 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 peace. I'm in the building. Thank you for coming out to the Brownstone Powwow. Solo, as you already know, shout outs to the people in the chat. James Kills, Greg Mahone, Angel Charms. Everybody, what's up? What's good? I feel like making this a quick one because this is just a relative conversation that doesn't really fall on deaf ears, but it seems like every now and again, specifically, so-called black people don't seem to get it. And this is where like I get aggravated because we're better than this in 2022, right? Um, Disclaimer, this is not a pro-black channel. This is not some type of place where you come here to feel good and hear me speak about Negro spirituals. It's not going down like that. You understand? This is just conversations about this being on my mind, getting somewhere with it, and then I make a reflection off of it, regardless if it's my so-called nationality or it's just people in general, right? So, oh, okay. Hold on, I got wild distracted. I don't know where Rashida is. I think I can contact someone to contact her if you want to, Greg. Wow. All right. All righty then. I didn't even know it was like that. Okay, bro. Okay. I'm trying to holler for $1. Nah. But on the real, I mean, but listen, I could get in. I know someone. Oh, okay. This dude is bold. God damn. Okay, well, I can get someone to contact her if you want, Greg. Y'all get me distracted. I think love is in the air. But I wanted to make a couple of announcements before I begin the show. Number one, I have been slacking on videos and slacking on the Brownstone Powwow. Had a couple of equipment troubles, but that has been rectified recently. So we're gonna get back into the swing of things. We're going to be able to get back into the powwows, open discussions, topic-based discussions, and things like that. And make sure that maybe probably starting this weekend, I definitely did have my panel called Garden City and Planning. And in this panel, this discussion and planning last week, but I didn't get around to it. It's just a bunch of distractions. But yeah, we're gonna get back into the flow of things. You know how I always like to have my intros, my music, and all the graphics and all these different things when I have discussions. But we're gonna get back into it. But getting back to what I want to talk about, I don't know why that is, bro. Yeah, I don't know why that is. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. Hold on, guys. Don't go nowhere. Give me 1 second. Okay, going back to what I was talking about. Yeah, those are my announcements. I had a equipment trouble, but I'm good now. It's straight. So we all into it, yo. Like I'm gonna. You know what I feel like doing because of Greg? I feel like having my own little dating show in the Brownstone Powwow, like shoot your shot. But I don't want to do it like how that corny ass content creator is doing it. I want to do it my own way. You know what I'm saying? Like shoot your shot. You know what I mean? Anybody around me who's single and you've been eyeing somebody for a second, you've been wanting to, talk to them, you've been seeing some avatars that you like, you know what I'm saying? Hit me up in the email so we could go ahead and start hooking you up. It'll be a blind date, or I have y'all two on the screen so y'all could talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? If y'all think that's a dope idea, put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat, please. Because I definitely do think it would be a dope ass idea if I was to pull that through. You understand me? But yeah, we straight, bro. Everything is cool now. But yeah, what inspired me to make this stream was the shooting that happened out in Buffalo last week. There was a so-called white man that shot up, I believe, a supermarket in Buffalo, New York. The conversation about race came in. I won't get into details of what I think happened, but or what do I think from the situation, but I definitely do think that it's a little bit like it's something is a little fishy. Something is a little rotten in the water. You know what I'm saying? That's not the words or whatever. You know what I mean? That's not what you say. That's not the phrase, but you get it. But The reason I want to have this discussion is so many different things. I've asked questions on different panels, like I've had conversations, and they be like, us as Black people, we need to do better. Especially this whole entire Kevin Samuels mega dick sucking right now. Like, I understand the guy passed away, but like the dick sucking is ridiculous. You feel what I'm saying? But and then especially when you see, like a couple of content creators like riding the whole wave now, like it's so corny. Like, we know you clout chasing and you're using his name to get somewhere, but that's we not here about that. We are totally not here about that. But the shooting happened out in Buffalo. So many questions. I heard some shit like Divester said some stupid shit like the dude was attractive and this, that, and the third. It's like, y'all little weirdos. Like, how do you focus? Like, what if it was your parents? No, what if it was your relatives that got shot, or one of your friends that got shot that day? Like, how do you go to his looks instead of his actions? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's plenty of serial killers that might have been attractive, hot, cute, or whatever and stuff like that, but get to the point of their actions. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cared about all that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Miss Mona is here. Why y'all always asking about women? Focus on the damn topic. Miss Mona is somewhere. Get on my nerves, Greg. Anyway, so I wanted to discuss that because it's like the conversations between so-called Black people. Does this make you feel like you have to be on edge when you see so-called Black people? Was this event in order to come up with the whole entire idea of, how do I say it, race war? Because we already know there was a quote unquote race war between so-called Black people and so-called Asians. And then, of course, President Joe Biden, or Sleepy Biden, came out with the bill that was called the Asian Hate Crime Bill. I felt like targeted towards so-called Black people, even if you had the knuckleheads that was sitting there doing bullshit towards Asians. Whatever. Let's get back into the conversation, right? So, for a long time, it's very prevalent for so-called Black people to put so-called white people on a pedestal for whatever reason. I don't understand. I don't get it. These days, you have both sides of the spectrum where they prefer to have a so-called white person as their partner, which is cool. I have no problem with that. I know there's certain traits that certain nationalities have. That's cool. I mean, I notice it. There's certain things that so-called Black people do that just so-called white people just don't do, or so-called Asians or so-called Hispanics. We have our own uniqueness. You know what I'm saying? As much as I want to say we're all the same, there's different traits we have. It just is what it is. So my thing of talking about this is that, when do a lot of so-called white people, so-called Black people, get the so-called white person out of their ass? Like, this whole entire belief system of believing they're a monolith and thinking that they could do no wrong, and because they rule society and stuff like that, that they're so perfect and this, that, and third. I said, y'all fucking just fanning my mind with that shit, man. Like, it makes no sense to me, right? So now, this is something. No, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later because I'm just trying to reel in my topic so I understand where I'm going with this. Too long. I've had to be on a whole entire wave where I have not understood society the way that it is. I don't understand the government. I don't understand their setup. I don't understand how certain people think. Having conversations about white privilege, which in some facets it is real, that there is a such thing as white privilege. But I don't call it white privilege. I call it, well, not necessarily nepotism, but more so white preference, preferential treatment, putting so-called white people before Black people and all these different things. Like, I understand. But now we're going to go over Sleepy Biden, right? About how he has this infatuation with hiring so-called Black women. I'm not doing this to cause a whole entire gender war or this, that, and the third, but hear me out. I think y'all should see it, because I know I'm not the only person who sees it, or the only bird who sees it. I know there's other people out there, other individuals out there that see it the same way. Like, I've just been noticing, like, these positions upon positions upon positions. Joe Biden has made it awfully clear he wants so-called Black women, from the judge to the vice president, all these different things, right? It's just something I noticed. Like, this is nothing. It's just random thought. I just randomly noticed this shit. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I don't want to ever feel like in life that I have to look at someone and I have to look up to them because, okay, no problem, Angel. Peace, Kings and Lion. But I don't want to go through life and look at people because of their nationality or whoever they are, or will they have a label or something like that, and think for a second like, oh, well, I should treat them a certain way because of this, that, and third. I automatically in the back of my head, I'm like, you can kiss my ass. I really don't care who you are. I mean, my whole attitude is like, that's always been my perspective. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you're going to talk about sellout devil Joe Biden, we already knew Joe Biden was no good. But for some odd reason, when you went against Joe Biden and you said that you wouldn't vote for Joe Biden, either two things happened as a so-called black person. Number one, they called you a coon. Or number two, they thought that you was going to vote automatically for Donald Trump. Now, in the 2024 election, what do you think is going to happen? I take dibs that is going to be a chaos. Okay, I believe it's gonna be a chaos. It's gonna be all these different things that's coming. I mean, yo, like it's gonna be fucking insane, yo. Like I just imagine just so because it's like you have celebrities that's supposed to be running too, and I'm like, this is not a game. Like this is you looking over America. So like, could you like really take this seriously? And then of course, you hear something like Kanye West is supposed to be running for president. Nigga, what?
EAP. Cap. C-A-P. Cap.
Who's Dr. Oz, bro? I forgot who that is. But going back to what I'm talking about, yeah, like those are the things that happen. But this is the thing that's crazy. I find it funny that when so-called black people have a conversations about someone who's so-called white that they hold in high regards, they automatically have this whole entire language in which they want to feel like they bring them into the cookout, that they're allowed to come to the rap sectors and come to the party and drink Kool-Aid with us and hang out with us. Not Jim Jones Kool-Aid, just Kool-Aid as in the actual Kool-Aid man. Like, oh yeah. That you know that Kool-Aid, you know what I'm saying? Not Jim Jones. Like he ain't poisoning nobody, or he's poisoning your mind. He's poisoning your mind. Think about that. But anyway, like having this conversation, you have to really think about that. Like, why do so-called black people do that? It's always something that triggered my mindset. You love so-called white people, but you hate mixed people. You understand? That's something that always like geared into towards my mind. Free Zone Lou was good, man. Welcome. Glad you're here. But that's always something that really gravitated me in having a conversation. Like you deal with so-called white people, you'll pull a chair out for them, but you can't stand mixed people, which is the product of a so-called white person, so-called black person, right? I mean, obviously, we know there's different variations of so-called mixed people, but getting back to my point, why do we act like that? And more specifically, you've seen it with like Hillary Clinton, who's responsible for all this nonsense that went on in Haiti, especially with the Red Cross Foundation. You did it with that dude Martin Shkreli, who was responsible for the AIDS farmer bro. That dude that sat up there and bought the Wu-Tang Clan CD and he had it in hiding, and then he got in trouble for maxing up the AIDS medicine price or HIV pills or medicine for like $400. People can't even afford that. So then off of that, right? Peace D Scott. Then off of that, it's like this, and it's like it gives them this whole entire self-entitlement thing. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You did that shit with Tom Hanks' son, Chet Hanks. You did that with him because he started speaking patois, right? You did that with him. You did that with Jack Harlow. And to me, I believe Jack Harlow is a total cornball. It's not because he's so-called white, because there's definitely so-called white dudes that got swag. So I'm not judging him because he's just a white boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not judging him for that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying in regards, like, it pisses me off. Like the mannerisms, like they're so on cutting edge. But like if it's always been the so-called black dude that's different, oh, he's a weirdo, he's an Oreo, he's this, that, and third. So what is a so-called white man that's trying to act like a so-called black person? And the inside out Oreo? And I mean, yeah, there's different terms that we use, right? Because then, of course, then I mean, I heard from Asians, right? And especially because we know about those, it's something like the Asian manosphere. So they have their whole entire thing, but I don't know if they really call themselves the Asian manosphere. In the Asian manosphere, they go over like regular old helmet topics and stuff like that, about height, about how a woman, this, that, and the third. They be getting dissed on by their own Asian women. But of course, you have, I believe it's some dude named Chang Nation that was making a whole entire big deal about height, about how he's 5'7", and then there was another dude that made a big deal about him being 5'4". Bitch, who gives a fuck? Anyway, getting off topic. Um, he said Chet Hanks Kulo. Why? Because you know how to speak patois? Get the fuck out of here. Look, Chet, this, okay, let me highlight this comment. I feel a way about Chet Hanks, but I do believe he's cool if you really sat down and get to know him. I know he feels some type of way because a lot of people come at him because they like, yo, you trying to be something you not. But like, if I sat down to really get to know him, like my opinions about him would change. But like as it stands, it's like he's doing a lot to put on a show, just like Jack Harlow. And that's my honest opinion. Like you're doing a lot. The coolest like white boy to me growing up, the so-called white boy that I thought was cool, I thought Mac Miller was cool. Mac Miller was like the coolest so-called white boy. Like he never tried to just act like he's whatever. Like he just was how he was. Like he never tried to put on a show. And he was cool. He's like, look, listen, I like rapping. You know what I mean? I play the guitar. You know, I am who I am from Pennsylvania. Like I love rap music. I love hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So like to me, I thought Mac Miller was like one of the coolest so-called white boys growing up. And I used to get his albums and his mixtapes. Like, are you kidding me? You can't tell me nothing. What is it? Blue Slide Park? Man, you talking shit. Fuck out of here. But anyway, him, Action Bronson, even though Action Bronson is not, he's not European so-called white. He's more like Albanian. And I tell people this all the time. In real life, Eastern Europeans are different from so-called white people, or at least so-called white Americans. They have a different swag to them. They have a different way that they carry themselves. It's just like how it is with Irish and Italian people. I don't even look at them and be like, you're a white person. Like I'd be like, literally, you're Italian or you're Irish. You know what I'm saying? And they just have a different vibe to them than just so-called white Americans. It's a difference. I don't know if y'all peep exactly what I'm saying, but I definitely do see a difference with them. You know what I'm saying? They're not the same as like the Eastern. They're not the same as the pretty regular old so-called white Americans. But back to what I'm saying, right? That's just how I feel. I mean, in my opinions about Chet Hanks, I don't know what y'all think about Jack Harlow. I think Jack Harlow is kind of a cornball. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I mean, you had who you had? Little Dicky. He's another so-called white boy that I can understand and I can vibe with. Just a nerdy type, but he can rap his ass off. Real cool dude. You know what I'm saying? He's not trying to put on a front. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just me, especially you, Marquise. It's just certain so-called white dudes that's out there that put up a front and I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm not saying you gotta, like, just because you dress a certain way, like you automatically corny, but it's just certain dudes I know for sure just put on a show and it's not cool. Like, be yourself. And if you are being yourself, I'm not gonna tell you to tone it down, but I'm gonna have suspicions about you, man. Like, for instance, another dude that I like because he doesn't try to put up a front is DJ Drewski. If y'all know DJ Drewski, he's like loving hip hop. He's on in New York. He's DJ of Hot 97. I ain't got problems with dude because he's being himself. He's not putting on a show. He's not putting up a front to me. It's just certain vibes I get with certain so-called white people, even so-called white women that I've known in my life, especially because they wanted to fuck me and shit. Like they wanted to fuck, like the whole entire reference, like, yeah, you're black. Bitch, Do you not know that I know that? Like, relax, miss. Like, you want the BBC so bad. Like, you're doing that for nothing. Like, chill out. Like, you see me with my nice ass skin tone, my beard, and my beautiful face. Anyway, you doing a lot just because you want some BBC. Like, calm your ass down, shorty. Like, you're doing the most. Like, you wild day room. And for people who don't know what day room is, it's another New York lingo that we use in New York. It's to basically say that you retarded. You know what I'm saying? You wild day room. I don't know what the meaning of day room means. We just say it. You day room. So if you take that, give me credit for it, because I definitely told you that on this stream, and you got to give me credit for that. But going back to what I'm saying. So this is why I made this stream, right? Because as soon as there's arguments between so-called black people and they get on this whole entire pro-black helmet swami type of conversation, they automatically get into the whole entire thing where they say, well, white people don't do this. White people don't act like this. They come together. They build together. Da, 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 da. I'm like, yo, do you not experience life outside of your environment? Like, do you not understand the day-to-days? How many times I've seen so-called white dudes fight each other, or so-called white women fight each other and argue with each other? Like, the fuck is y'all talking about? Ooh, ooh, bro, chill, bro. He said a lot of black folk fake too. Look at Miss Elite. Yo, Marquise is on one, bro. Yo, I haven't talked to Miss Elite in a minute, yo. Like, look, my whole thing with Miss Elite, she got some stuff about her that I don't like. I'm gonna just say that she just got certain vibes to her that's just kind of like not cool. So I'm not the one who's saying she's fake, but you know, there's certain vibes to her that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wish her the very best. At the end of the day, I'm gonna keep it 100. I wish her the very, very best. I just like, to me, Miss Elite is like Crystal Swirl's. Like, I'm sorry, I gotta keep it a hundo. Like, Miss Elite is like Crystal Swirl's Stalker 101 to me, yo. Like, every time you see Miss Elite, Crystal Swirls. And it's like, do you ever talk about anything else? And I know I shouldn't be saying this on this stream because it's like whatever, but I keep it a buck. Whatever's on my mind is whatever's on my mind. But peace to Tampa Supreme. Nice to see you, brother. Glad you can join me today. You know, we're just going over the conversation about people seeking white validation, usually so-called black people, yeah. But you know, these mini conversations that I hear from so-called black people when we get into these conversations or things get intense, it's like they want to boil down the effect and slow it down, and then randomly say stupid shit like, yeah, white people don't do this, white people don't do that. I'm like, do you not know how so-called white people have conversations? They have full-on arguments. You ever heard a so-called black person, so-called white person argue with someone? It's gonna be your ass, buddy. Cut the malarkey. I'm gonna sue you. Y'all motherfuckers don't know. Like, I've witnessed so many different things, bro. Like, I've been to different states. Had the privilege of going to different places in the United States. And I'm like, what y'all saying? If you experience stuff, not necessarily out the hood or your environment, you would see that there is no difference. There's people, the so-called black people is on some nigga shit, then so-called white people is on some so-called white people shit. So it's very inaccurate to make a claim like that, especially when I remember, oh shit, hold on. So shout outs to 1G's. Always a pleasure to see that, brother. Yo, man, 1G's, I gotta say this, man. 1G's is such a humble dude, man. He never be in no trouble. He never be, you know what I'm saying? Real chillax dude. I must say that, man. Continue the good work, brother. You know I'm gonna support you all the way. I got you. Shout outs to the Villain Sphere. Also, I gotta make sure that I get Absalom Pianki TV on the chat right now on the screen. Shout outs to that brother. That brother is always making good content, always putting out music. I definitely believe I didn't get a chance to check it out, but I think he put out a mixtape. So make sure you look at that mixtape on his YouTube channel. He's working. I must say that I like Aslam Pianki TV because he works. He be hustling. I really respect hustlers, man. He has that New York drive. You already know the vibes, bro. Also, I meant to say this, Absalom. That video you did on MK, Melanie, that is, we don't need to have a long discussion about that. Nothing but facts, bro. Like, I must say that. Nothing but facts, bro. Like, that shit is corny. Like, it's clout all the way. You feel what I'm saying? I be peeping and I be like, yo, that shit is wild clout. You feel what I'm saying? So, bro, that video you did on her and the other dude, bro, that joint was banging, son. Like, I fucks with you for that, bro. Facts. That shit was lit. Like, I was, because literally, I was just sitting up there, like, thinking, like, once she got on, like, the whole entire YouTube wave, I was like,
cut that bitch off. Next caller.
and you know how it is. Nowadays, everybody's riding the wave off of KS. And so, like, when they get into those discussions, I deadass just be like,
fuck this shit, I'm out.
Or I'll be like,
what? What the fuck?
And I'm telling you, people really don't like me because I be having these type of conversations now, because I just be like, this is all just dick riding 101. It's so corny, bro. Like you made someone your father. Like, how do you live with that? Like, you're a fuck boy. And I'm talking about that guy that got the tattoo of him. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be judgmental, but just something in my soul, in my gut, and in my feathers just sits up there and says, why would you do that? Like, why? But this is not to go on a conversation about him. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to leave it alone. But even in particular sectors, let's just keep it, because I know a lot of brothers is here from the Black manosphere, right? That a lot of people believe that the way that so-called Black men argue on panels, so-called white dudes don't do the same thing. Do y'all remember Andrew Drewski or Andrew Drewski or something like that? That dude that used to have the Asian dude that used to be on interviews with him? That motherfucker was crazy. He used to do a lot of shit on these YouTube streams and argue back to back to back to back. That was back in like 2018, 2019. I'm not sure what he's up to these days, but I used to watch Andrew Drewski's TV a lot. Like, if it is Andrew Drewski, I have no idea. Yeah, Andrew Drewski, I believe his name is. I used to watch his stuff all the time. Like, he used to argue and say some wild ass shit on his streams. And his sidekick used to just sit there and just be like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like, even to this day, I watch 21 Studios from time to time. I'll look on his community tab and say, yo, this dude is saying nothing but facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, he be saying some stuff where I'd be like, yo, he's talking facts though. And, you know, 21 Studios will be sitting up there going at Coach Greg Adams, I believe. Does he go at Coach Greg Adams? He goes at Fresh and Fit a lot. I know he does that. He goes at Fresh and Fit a lot, and he goes at a couple of other people. So don't think that I don't be watching other stuff like on these YouTube streams. You understand what I'm saying? Just haven't really told you that until now, right? But that's why I hate when people, especially on this YouTube sphere shit, like, they're so quick on saying so-called Black people, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. It's human nature to argue. Like, that's like individuals, us as like individual, we're gonna argue if the points is something we don't agree with. So like, what is the problem? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I hate it when people want to sit up there and say, no, that's not cool. Why would you say that? And da da da. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna argue, like, whatever. Like, we argue, either we say fuck you, I'm out, or we sit up there and say, like, yo, we had a disagreement and we're going to come back together full force. We got to do this for the community. You know what I'm saying? So, like, come on with the malarkey. Come on with the whole entire cap, because it makes no sense when y'all have those conversations. And that's why I get so ticked off at y'all, because every day is an argument about something, you know? There's always something that they say, and I just be like,
EAP. Cap. 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 Cap.
But anyway, this is where I think because I got 30 more minutes. I'm gonna try for 30 more minutes. If I don't, then I don't. But this is what I really wanted to get to, right? So I was recognizing the fact of the matter, and if I could pull up the screen, I would do it. But I seen something because Juneteenth is coming up. Juneteenth is coming up, and they decided to make like some type of ice cream or like put a wrapper around on like I don't know, have a Juneteenth flavor now. And then Band-Aids is like made with like nude colors that's supposed to represent brown skin tones and talk about they're finally recognizing us on Band-Aids. Nigga, it's Band-Aids, bro. Like this is see, when I have conversations like this, it's like you don't hear me though. Like, what is so important about having a dark brown Band-Aid, bro? About skin complexion? Like, who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck. So to me, I seen that and I said to myself, this is seeking white validation. We need to be heard. We need to be seen. My complexion means something. My melanin, my melanin, hashtag black girl magic, hashtag black boy magic. Nah, son. Like, it doesn't make me feel embarrassed to be a so-called African American, but at the same time, it's so trivial to me. It doesn't make any sense. Who cares? If you have a cut, if you have a wound, if you have a blemish, if you have ailments on your body that needs to be covered up, just go get a Band-Aid. What is so important about having these different complexions of brown, which is around, you know what I'm saying? Brown, anyway, which is around brown and stuff like that, where you need to make a statement about how it's important to have complexions represented. Off of bandages packages, bro. Maybe it's just me. I don't get it. Like, I really, honestly, really don't get it, y'all. Like, it was enough when that happened, but then it was about Juneteenth and about the ice cream. And I'm just like, who are you seeking validation for? It's still a so-called white-owned corporation. But then you don't really support black business. No, Marquise, it's not a problem with the ice cream. My narrative, what I'm trying to get at, is just off the idea that it's so important to want to make a big deal about a Juneteenth flavor, or, well, no, not necessarily that, but like this whole entire falsehood of saying we've overcome so far in 2022. To certain degrees, I can agree. I can understand it. I can agree with it. I get it. But I want the conversation for me to go beyond you being a so-called black person. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm over the whole entire, because I'm black or because we need to be represented. It like, I'm probably being an asshole with it, but Band-Aids, I'm not going to pay attention to a band. I'm like, oh, they got a new color. Oh, it's brown. Cool. You know what I'm saying? I like brown. So I'm like, okay, cool. If I got a cut, I'll pick up those bandages. I'm not thinking in the back of my head, like, me as a so-called black person, when I get another cut, I'm going to remember how my ancestors felt. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to think like that. My whole entire view is, look, listen, I got a cut. I need a Band-Aid. I don't want the blood leaking out. I need to fix this. Okay? Like, that's what I mean by that. As terms as the ice cream, maybe it isn't a big deal, right? Maybe it isn't something that's really that important, but I can get it with the image, the whole entire thing. But don't then sit there and say there aren't brands that so-called black people own that you could be supporting more of, that will do the same exact thing and show love to fellow so-called black people. But because it has to be white validation, that's what makes it important. That's what I mean by that. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with just this whole entire theory of who said what or who did this or who did that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm getting at, bro. Because when I wake up in the morning, I'm not caring about a so-called white person. You know what I'm caring about? Me getting to the level I want to get to in life. I'm not looking at the white man and say, give me a shot to get here, white man. When I walk in your corporation, you better let me be manager. You better let me be a CEO. No, Because the thing about it with the mindsets, and everybody always equates riches to just so-called white people. When you deflate off of that and you start to realize it's just the fact of the matter that they're willing to put in the work, they're willing to put in the time, they're willing to put in the effort, they're willing to put in the investment. It's not a race thing. It's not a nationality thing. We don't give a shit about nationality. When dudes is creating their own business, shout outs to the so-called black man that I seen on Instagram. He quit his job as a teacher and created a whole entire t-shirt line in 5 weeks. I believe in 5 weeks. Went ahead, did the work, got the material he needed, and created a successful t-shirt line. There's someone I know right now that probably has cajillions of businesses right now. They're so-called black, successful, doing what they have to do. Of course, they're not on some type of like, I'm a high value man shit, but you know, they like, yo, I did my thug dizzle. I don't have to worry about working for somebody else. I could work for myself and hire my own people. I could do nepotism on my own terms. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you something personally. I've been through trials and tribulations, shit, probably still on trials and tribulations now. But the most important thing that I will tell you from this stream, if you haven't heard it from me, focus on you, and don't make it about race when you're focusing on you. Where there'll be places or situations where so-called white people might act like an ass and the so-called white woman might pull a Karen and the so-called white man might pull a Brad. Absolutely. I will never deny that. But the thing about it is when you think higher and you erase this whole entire conversation about nationality, you start to look at things a little bit more different. Especially now, this recession that's coming up, these high inflations, women out here ain't even able to get baby formula. And then on top of that, not only are we still dealing with Karina, we're now dealing with the monkeypox. God damn. If this hasn't told you it's the last days, I don't know what it is. I believe it's the last days. I stand on that. But the thing about it is that with that being said, this should be the time for you to go ahead and start doing the stuff that you want to do. Every brother that's in this chat started a YouTube page because they wanted to. Regardless of how many subscribers they have, they had an impact on someone who's watching, who agrees with their content, who disagrees with their content. You gotta look at it that way, you know what I'm saying? So I get sick and tired of people having these race-baity conversations and saying as a white person you wouldn't understand, or because you're black and you da-da-da, this, that, and the third. It takes me off because I don't look at life like that. I look at life totally different than how certain so-called black people look at life. It's not important to me. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm concerned about Bronzeberg Chieftain. Okay? Like, come on, bro. Black people just like to complain. Absolutely, they do. There was a school shooting today too, man. Too much BS happening out here. Yes, I definitely did see that school shooting that happened in Texas. I did definitely do see that. It's just too many psyops that's happening at once. I'm sorry to say psyops, but it's just too much like stuff going on at once. Like just a month ago, you had the guy that did the shooting on a Manhattan-bound N train. Then last week, it was a thing that happened in Buffalo. Then this week, this shooting that happened in Texas. And what you're starting to figure out is, I don't know if this is changing the narrative, but they don't want to make it just seem like, I don't even want to say they, but it's just that now you can't just necessarily call school shooters so-called white people. There has been a so-called black kid who was a school shooter. There has been a so-called Hispanic, because I believe it was a so-called Hispanic male who is 17 years old, 15 to 17 years old, who shot up the school today. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, those type of things, we can't just now, it's like you gotta have to change the whole entire paradigm. Even in 2007 with the Virginia Tech shooting, it was a so-called white boy and a so-called Asian. So the whole entire thing I'm saying is directly so-called white kids, nah, I can't pull that no more. It's all a different ball game. Peace to Nicer in the building. Make sure you support Nicer. She makes some dope ass fat beats. If you need some beats for your page, she's the one to holla at. Make sure you holla at Nicer for them beats, for the stuff you need for your intros, your outros, your in-betweens, your intermissions. She makes dope ass beats, y'all. Support Nicer. You know what I mean? So yeah, I at the end of the day, like, yeah, dude, like that joint that happened out in Texas, I was just like, yo, that's some crazy shit, because it's like, what's gonna happen? And all of this is still in pandemic. Like, goddamn, bro, like we didn't even catch a break. Mind you, it's May, it's late May. Kids is about to get out of school for summer vacation if they didn't already. So what was in the mindset of this kid that decided to go ahead and shoot up the school? Like, what do we like? This is a thing. Oh, Felicia back in the building. What's good? Peace. What's going on, Felicia? Hi, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. What's going on, though? Peace. Good to see you. It's been a while. But going back to what I'm saying, it's like, what is in the mindset of these kids that go ahead and shoot up these schools? Like, I would just like to know for myself, because anytime someone was bullied in my school, there was always a conversation afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, the principal would know, or the teacher would know. They would stay after class and they would talk it out. You know what I'm saying? If anybody felt suicidal or felt like, they was being violent against somebody, like, we automatically cleared that shit up. It wasn't not no like, if it was a safety concern, we definitely was like, let us coach them. Let us get them a mentor. Let them get us a guidance counselor or something like that. So it's never gotten to a point where, a kid was like, yo, I'm going to shoot up the school. Even when I went to high school, I remember it was one kid I thought this one kid was going to shoot up the high school. I'm sorry, like, yo, like, I don't want to tell you the years I was in high school, but yo, when I was in high school, I used to think it was this kid that was going to shoot up the school, because we used to make fun of him. I know, fucked up shit. I know, but look, listen, I got made fun of. I used to make fun of other people too. So it was like a give and take type of thing. We all used to make fun of each other in school, but we used to believe it was just one kid that was going to shoot up a school because of how his behavior was. It was all squarish. It was all like, he I had to fucking laugh because he used to have this phrase that used to have me dying, yo, because he would be so aggressive and so funny at the same time. He'd be like this, because you know how certain people pronounce their words? Say he would pronounce it like this. He's like, you're pissing me off. And you'd be like, why are you so mad, bro? I just asked you to pass me a pencil. Calm down, bro. Shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I'm good, Felicia. How are you? How's everything going? Everything's cool? Everything's peaceful? Hope everything's all right with you. Red Lake school shooting, 2005 Red Lake, a res up north here in Minnesota. What band is it? And when I say band, what tribe is it, if you don't mind me asking, Nicer? That's wow. Was it an indigenous school? I'm just curious, Nicer. Was it an indigenous school? Damn. Red Lake School. That's crazy. When did that happen, actually, Nicer? When did that happen? Biden behind them for gun control. He's always been like that, though, Marquise. Even when he was doing the presidential campaign as a presidential candidate, he was always for that, the gun control. He tried to deny it, and because there was some guy that got in his face, he was like, no, I didn't say all that. I don't blah, 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 and this, that, and the third. But if you really think about it, though, it's definitely going to be gun control that's going to happen in this country. I mean, I think that they're trying to rip away a lot of amendments anyway. So it's becoming stricter. You already know they can track you. They can find out who you are. They can know your activity. They can know exactly what you've been doing from point up to point down. I mean, even when we're on our phones, just by location. Where have you been today? Where did you go? Where are you at? Where's your home? They automatically say where your home is when you go on a particular app. Where do you work? They automatically put where you work at on the app. Like, let's say, for instance, you're using cab service, like Lyft or Uber. How do you know that's my address? Who told you that's my address, right? So the same thing that go with the government, you already know. Like, I think for sure that they're gonna try and push for stricter gun laws. I'm sorry, maybe this me being CT. I definitely do think they create these psyop missions for that. I'm just being honest. I believe that they're creating a lot of psyop missions in order to invoke this idea about how guns should be used and all these different things. It's just the reason they tried to make a big deal about the stand your ground law in Florida. Same, like not the same thing, but similar in the nature. Like, oh, we need to know when it's right to use a weapon and this, that, and third. Like, stop it. AG Boy tribe. Okay, okay, okay. See, that's good that you mentioned that, Nicer, because I'm gonna look it up after this stream because I didn't know anything about that. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't know anything about that. Like, I'm gonna look that up. So thanks for the information on that, Nicer, because I find that interesting. And I want to have more knowledge on the indigenous tribe because I'm into Native American, indigenous, Aboriginal stuff. It is anyway. So I'm into like that whole entire thing anyway. But I definitely will check that out. I definitely will make sure that I check that out. But yeah, thanks for telling me that. I mean, it reminds me of a lot of shootings that happened on in school, right? Like what happened with the Sandy Hook shooting in 2012. Many other shootings that happened around the country when they did a lot of this stuff to those kids and stuff like that. Like a lot of stuff, man. And so many people are saying, oh, they need to go through a mental evaluation and this, that, and the third. Like, but how you don't know they already planned this in the setting anyway, that they wanted to shoot up the school. They was like, yo, I wonder if I can get away with this. And that they subconsciously planted in the so-called white boy's mind because the so-called white boy is thinking that he's thinking in his head, I could get away with this. They're not going to lock me up. They're not going to put me in jail. I'm not going to do life in prison. I'm white. Who's going to tell me I'm wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like those are thoughts that go behind, like that goes in my mind. Like certain school shooters, if they're so-called white in the 21st century, like these are things that that I think about for real, y'all. Because the thing about it is they know that they can use that as a clutch. Like, oh, I don't know what happened. Something came over me, or I wasn't thinking, or this, and they testify. And for some odd reason, the system believes them. So they don't get that much jail time. They don't get in trouble like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's why it's different with a so-called black kid. I'm just being honest. It's a difference when it's a so-called black kid. So-called black boys think twice. Even though right now in 2022, so-called black boys and Hispanics, but more specifically so-called black boys, are the leading causes of suicide in this country. And my thing about it is, what if he is being bullied in school? What if he is being teased by such and such and such in school? Now does he feel like he have to pick up a gun to prove a point? You know what I'm saying? Like those are things that I really think about. But that's here nor there. Like it's just so crazy. But going to what I'm saying, this was a topic I was thinking about in terms of Buffalo. I didn't understand why. Like I said, something in my mind tells me it could be a psyop. It could be very well a psyop. I don't know. I think like on a normal day, like what would make you sick to a point that you want to go out and kill random so-called black people in Buffalo, New York, at a random supermarket? Like what poised you? Like, did you not like the sighting of so-called black people? But then you targeted yourself to go into a so-called black neighborhood in Buffalo and then made sure you went out there to kill them, right? Like, that's the stuff that I think about. I'm just being honest. That's just what I'm just like, it's on my mind. It just is one of that. But I grow from that conversation to think about interactions I had on panels, interactions I had in real life. And I thought to myself, I said, well, damn, why is it that we go into these conversations talking about white people this and white people that, but you don't focus on black people in general? Why are you not focusing on yourself? Like, why does it always come into a conversation about what white people do? White people do a lot of fuck shit, just like we do a lot of fuck shit. So at the end of the day, you want to cause an oppression party in order to make yourself feel better or to say that we need to be just like them. Because honestly, it's just another way of saying, I want to kiss your ass. And that's some real sucker shit to me. Like, I'm not for the whole entire feel bad for me because I want to be just like them. And even though you're not saying it, you're saying it. So that's why I have a big issue with that. And I swear, the mindset of these people of today, they still think like that. As if like so-called white people can't do no wrong. And shout outs to the so-called white people who is probably listening to this Brownstone powwow. This is not meant to be racist. This is all analytical. This is all just about understanding and just having conversations because it's just so flabbergasting to me. It doesn't matter what age you are. You could be in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. The mindset of so-called black people towards so-called white people is just so amazing to me. Like, I don't get it. Like, I sit in a disarray when I have these discussions, even when having a conversation with like one of my favorites, right? And we was having a conversation. I was like, yo, why is it that when I like certain activities, I get labeled as an Oreo, number one. And number two, I'm looked at like I'm trying to be like them, that I'm seeking their validation, and that because I'm doing this, I want them to acknowledge me. I don't agree with that. That shit is corny to me, bro. I'm not trying to seek the validation of nobody but myself. You understand me? So, otherwise than that, that was just on my mind. Make sure that you like and subscribe before I leave. I have some good announcements. Like I said, I will be resuming Brownstone powwows started this weekend. Maybe I might start Thursday. I might start Friday. I don't know. I don't know what the next one is going to be. I know I was supposed to go back to talking about church. Brexit, we were supposed to do a part two. I'm still going to do a part two. Um, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be this weekend or next weekend. I might just do Garden City this weekend. But I definitely had to make up for this weekend because I didn't give you guys a stream. So I owe y'all. This is my ode to you. Oh, also before I get out of here, yes, there's gonna be pre-records again. I'm gonna start up the new videos again this week. Make sure I give y'all those videos so y'all can view it, y'all can touch it, y'all can say and give y'all opinions in the comment section. Make sure y'all still subscribe to my channel. Make sure y'all still subscribe to my work, like my work, comment, tell me what you think. Make sure y'all get that down pack. It would make me very happy if y'all could do that for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I got mad work to do. I'm just scrambling for time right now, trying to talk my ish before I get up off this live. You feel what I'm saying? But make sure you support the kid. Make sure you support me through PayPal if you want to. You can donate whenever. Otherwise than that, I ain't got no much further words. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.